Welcome to our deep dive on maximizing cash when your job ends. We will explore how to tactically handle final paychecks and severances, especially when your emergency fund is thin. We will weigh the trade-off between immediate liquidity and long-term retirement savings. Let's get started by outlining what we will cover. Here is our agenda. First, we break down why liquidity matters. Next, we cover the golden rule about employer matching. Then, we walk through essential checks before you act. After that, we share a cash flow playbook. We also include a short scenario with numbers. Finally, there is a quick quiz, and we end with a clear action plan and wrap-up. Let's transition to why liquidity comes first. When your emergency savings cover 3 months or less, immediate cash becomes critical. Liquidity helps you avoid taking on high-interest debt and buys time to find your next role. While tax-deferred savings are valuable, the short-term need to stabilize cash flow often takes priority. Now let's drill into the cold calculus behind this approach. If your emergency fund is 3 months or less, the tactical move is to set elective retirement contributions to 0% on your final paycheck and on any severance, if contributions are even allowed. This increases your immediate cash buffer to cover essentials, which in turn helps you avoid high-interest debt. In the moment, accessible cash may be more valuable than the deferred tax savings from a small final retirement plan deferral. The plan is temporary. Once you have stable employment again, you can restart and even increase contributions to catch up. Next, here is the golden rule that must guide this decision. This flowchart starts with the event of job loss or a severance offer. First, it checks whether an employer match applies to the final paycheck or severance. If a match does apply, the guidance is to contribute at least enough to capture the full match before considering reductions, because that is equivalent to free compensation. If there is no match, the flow evaluates your emergency fund. If your cash cushion is 3 months or less, it directs you to set contributions to 0 to prioritize liquidity. It then checks whether the severance itself permits elective deferrals. If not, you cannot defer from that payment. Finally, the chart ends with reminders to confirm timing for contribution changes with payroll, avoid taking on high-interest debt, and plan to restart contributions once employed again. Now, let's walk through the essential checks before you act. Before making any changes, confirm with HR or payroll whether elective deferrals are permitted on severance. Many severance payments allow only mandatory withholdings, meaning you cannot contribute from that lump sum. Next, verify how long it takes for a contribution rate change to take effect, and ensure your 0% change will apply before your final payroll is processed. Then, confirm whether any employer match still applies to your final paycheck or severance. If there is no match, prioritizing liquidity is more attractive. Also, review your health insurance coverage to avoid gaps. Estimate your monthly essential expenses to calculate how long your cash will last. Finally, set a plan to restart contributions once you are employed again, potentially at a higher percentage to catch up. With those checks in place, let's cover the golden rule driving this strategy. This strategy makes the most sense when the employer is not matching contributions on your final paycheck or severance. Without a match, you are not giving up free money, and choosing liquidity is a reasonable trade of future growth for present stability. However, if a match still applies, contribute at least enough to capture the full match, and only then consider lowering contributions further if liquidity is still a concern. Now let's compare keeping contributions versus pausing them. On the left, keeping contributions provides modest tax deferral but reduces immediate cash and can increase the risk of needing high-interest credit if the job search lasts longer than expected. On the right, pausing contributions to 0 maximizes cash runway, reduces the risk of taking on credit card debt, and makes it easier to cover essentials and job search costs, although it temporarily forgoes the tax benefits of deferral. Next, let's look at a simple cash impact example with numbers. This illustrative example assumes a $5,000 final paycheck and no employer match on that final pay. At a 10% contribution rate, $500 would be deferred into the retirement plan, reducing immediate cash. Pausing to 0% frees that $500 as immediate cash. Actual taxes, matches, and withholdings vary by employer and jurisdiction, so this is only an example. Now, let's discuss how to deploy that extra cash most effectively. Direct the freed-up cash to essentials first: rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, and transportation. Next, prevent new high-interest debt by making minimum payments and avoiding revolving balances. Maintain health insurance and other critical coverages to avoid expensive gaps. Allocate funds for job search costs, such as travel or credentialing. Aim to maintain at least 1 to 3 months of expenses in cash as a runway. Finally, set a firm date to restart contributions once you secure employment, potentially at a higher rate to compensate for the pause. Before we continue, let's test your understanding with a quick quiz. Question: when is it most financially sound to set retirement contributions to 0% on your final paycheck or severance? Options are A, when you still have a full employer match on the final pay; B, when your emergency fund covers 6 to 12 months of expenses; C, when there is no employer match and your cash buffer is 3 months or less; and D, always, regardless of match or savings. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is C. When there is no employer match, you are not forfeiting free compensation. If your emergency fund is 3 months or less, prioritizing liquidity strengthens your financial resilience during a job search. Now, let's visualize how to structure your emergency budget. This pie chart illustrates a sample emergency budget allocation. Housing consumes about 35%, followed by food at 15%, utilities and transportation at 10% each, insurance and healthcare at 10%, debt minimums at 10%, job search costs at 5%, and miscellaneous expenses at 5%. Your actual percentages will vary, but the visualization helps ensure essentials are prioritized. Next, let's map a quick timeline from layoff through restarting contributions. Set a restart date for contributions as soon as you accept a new offer. Consider a slightly higher contribution rate at first, such as 2 to 5 percentage points above your prior level, to catch up. Automate transfers to rebuild your emergency fund while simultaneously contributing to retirement. During onboarding, review benefit options, including health savings accounts or flexible spending accounts, to improve tax efficiency. Before we wrap up, a quick but important disclaimer. This content is for educational purposes only and is not financial, tax, or legal advice. Your situation may differ based on employer policies, state and federal laws, and personal finances. Always confirm details with HR or payroll and consult a qualified professional before acting. With that noted, let's recap the key points. Here are the key takeaways. First, prioritize liquidity if your emergency fund is 3 months or less. Second, pause contributions to 0 only if there is no employer match. Third, confirm severance deferral rules and processing timelines with HR. Fourth, use the extra cash to avoid high-interest debt and cover essential expenses. Finally, plan to restart contributions quickly once employed, potentially at a higher rate to recover the pause. To close, let's summarize and send you off with a clear next step. In summary, if your savings are thin, prioritize liquidity to extend your cash runway. When no employer match applies, reducing contributions to 0 can be a sensible temporary measure. Confirm all rules, timelines, and coverage with HR before acting. Then, once you secure your next role, restart and accelerate contributions to get back on track. Finally, here's a quick note before you go. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, please like the video, share it with someone who might need it, and subscribe for more practical financial guidance. We would love to hear your experiences and questions about severance and cash management in the comments below.